Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Well, this morning, and it's still dark, but it won't be. I can see this little glimmer of light here, April 5th, 2018. We have Heaven Hill Kentucky whiskey, a blend. So Heaven Hill Kentucky blended whiskey. This is their, well, I don't know if it's famous where you are. It's famous here. This kind of old wooden placard, whatever that's called. And it's made to look like it's painted, you know, like from the 1800s. You can feel the letters on it, and they got the HH crest. This is very common in the New Orleans area, like St. John the Baptist Parish east over to St. Bernard Parish, I guess. It's just a common Heaven Hill brand in all sizes. This is the 750 milliliter. Heaven Hill's #1 blended whiskey, it says right there. If you look on the website, it's not listed unless you look under the product specifications area. But all that does is just give you the proof and the bottle sizes. So that's mainly for people that are, you know, distributors ordering things. And it's got that typical Heaven Hill bottle, which is just straight down. If you get the Sacred Bond Brandy, Christian Brothers Sacred Bond Brandy, same thing, same bottle. And we have a good deal of it left here. It's a deep amber appearance. And it says here, every drop of the Kentucky whiskeys used in this special blend, I'm trying to read it in the dark, are distilled by traditional sour mash Kentucky craftsmanship to assure consistent quality and taste. Okay, so this is a blend of 20% Kentucky straight whiskey and 36 months old, and 80% grain neutral spirits, and blended and bottled at Heaven Hill in Bardstown. Okay, so it's grain neutral spirits from wherever, and 20% Kentucky straight whiskey, sour mash whiskey, interestingly. And we're going up against Albertsons American blended whiskey, also 80-20. They're both 80 proof. And this is from Louisville, bottled in Louisville. So the whiskey here is from Kentucky, but the grain neutral spirits are from Lawrenceburg, Indiana. It's also got an amber appearance, but holding these up together, let's see, pretty much the same. I thought there'd be a difference, but it's pretty much amber. Now, this doesn't indicate any sour mash, so, but it could be, because it could be using ancient age. I just don't know. It's a great mystery. And there could be a dozen people worldwide that are wondering this. You know, you go around this world and there could be a dozen people saying, do they use sour mash whiskey and Albertsons blended American whiskey? So I got the tag, Albertsons. Just double check. I've been going Sazerac versus Sazerac, right? Mainly. So we're going to take a little side road and go Sazerac versus Heaven Hill. And the Heaven Hill that I'm looking at today, I was able to find a date of 1964, all right? 1964. the Heaven Hill bourbon, I think, goes back to 1953. No, wait. I think I'm thinking of, all right, let me get this straight. My mind is thinking of Very Old Barton, 1964. So Heaven Hill, Kentucky whiskey. I'm gonna have to double check that. Doesn't really matter. The company's been around since about 1933, started after Prohibition. Okay. Goalkeepers says hello. Maxwell says hello, Ron. Thanks for this stream. You're welcome, and thank you very much for watching. Goalkeeper looks like nice whiskey. Well, yeah. I don't know about nice. Are you going to compare these two whiskeys in this stream? Yes. Now that's the whole point of this, to see if I can tell them apart. And okay, so first let's go with the price. Let's see. 80 proof. They're both blended at an 80-20 ratio. Albertsons is aged at least 4 years, could be longer, but it's at least 4 because there's no age statement. And when there's no age statement, that means it's at least 4 years old, U.S. law. Okay. The Heaven Hill says 36 months, so 3 years, the straight whiskey. And it says sour mash. You would assume that if Albertsons was using sour mash whiskey, they would tell you, because companies usually like to tout that as though it's a benefit. Some people like the sour mash whiskeys. Other people, they find it's off-putting. Doesn't matter to me either way, to really tell you the truth. But I do notice there's a difference. First, the appearance. Yeah, they're both just the same. You get... Well, this one, you're getting more alcohol eggs over here, this Heaven Hill, right? Make sure I'm looking at the right one. Yeah. So that's a difference. But they're both, you know, amber. And another difference is that the Albertsons has sediment in it. You know, it's not noticeable if you're just glancing at it, but if you look deep, carefully, it does have some sediment, which is strange, white little flecks. John Aneely says, good morning, Ron. Good morning, John. That was a good stream last night when on the Massachusetts Beer Reviews Thomas Meadow 75. We did barley wines of various sorts. We just were looking at barley wine. And tonight at 7 Eastern, we're going to look at port wine for a little while. Not a long while, a little while, because I would like to watch the LSU at Texas A&M baseball game for as much as I could stay awake. I was going to watch the Pelicans last night, but I had been up since 2:42, about 2:35 in the morning. I didn't sleep enough the night before, so I laid down. So let me watch the Pelicans, and then when I, like, immediately, I just could remember. I opened my eyes, and they were interviewing Anthony Davis, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." I said, "Oh, the game is over." I was like basically passed out from being so sleepy. So I said, "I just watch the highlights tomorrow," and it was a dominating win. But what do you expect? They're playing Memphis. They played Memphis, who was so terrible. So, but anyway, enough of that. But we are doing port wine tonight, and James P. Madonna got a big bottle of Taylor Port. I'm going to try to look that up because I know he's not going to, but I'm going to try to look that up on the Constellation Brands website, and they'll have a sales sheet, and it'll give a big rundown of it, the history of it, maybe the kind of grapes they use, if it's injected with brandy, tasting notes. They'll talk about the winery master, the wine master winery producer, wine producer, whatever they call it. And I'll forward that to him, and he might find that interesting. He likes to look at those type of things. That's Constellation Brands, which actually, interestingly, evolved from the Taylor Wine Company. That's how it started. Taylor Wines. Then it became bigger and bigger, and then it even was bought by Coca-Cola company at one time, but they realized that really wasn't their bag, you know. So then they sold it, and then it was and became Constellation Brands. Okay, and they, you know, they bought a lot of big companies like Ballast Point Brewing Company. They handle all the Grupo Modelo beers. They don't own it. They handle the Grupo Modelo beers essentially in America, even though it's an Anheuser-Busch InBev product. Well, that's a fascinating website, Constellation Brands. You just wouldn't believe it, you know, but it's very intricate and detailed. Like they go, each brand is intricately and complex. There's a complex description of each, more than any other company's website. I mean, they go into great detail. Heaven Hill, they do go into great detail on some things, like Evan Williams bourbon. I mean, they even had their own website. You see Evan Hill television commercials for Major League Baseball games. They're one of the sponsors. So something like that. Oh, yeah. The Christian Brothers brandy. Oh, no. There's a little bit here and there. Maybe you go to a liquor store and they'll have a poster up there. You know, one of those things that's glued to the window that comes, you know those things. There could be some promotion, but you're not going to see a commercial for the Christian Brothers. And then for this thing, the Heaven Hill, you're not going to see anything ever. Okay, they look similar. Yes, you have nice streams. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you. I tried to. All right, so we're going to look at the price point, then the aroma, and then the taste test. Okay, I'm not going to go on and on. Plus, I got 4 more games I want to watch the highlights for. I didn't finish. Especially seeing how I want to see how Washington got beat up by, I think it was Atlanta, was it? That's kind of weird. But okay, Heaven Hill, you can get it for $6.19 plus tax here. $6.19 now. The Albertsons you can get for $4.99 plus tax. $4.99 plus tax. So it's about as cheap. These two are about as low price as you're going to see. In St. Bernard Parish, they do have the McCormick blended whiskey, which William Kepley and I agreed that was one of the best ones we tried of the blended. It has a little richer character. That was $5.99. But I don't see it out around here, the McCormick. I only saw it there. I see McCormick vodka right there at Walmart. Vodka, okay. But not the whiskey. All right. And then somebody told me Carstairs was out here in this town, or it might be in the next town. It might be in Reserve, Louisiana. I said Carstairs. But I'm not buying any more Carstairs. Okay. Right off the bat, as they say in cricket, pretty cheap. Yeah, like extremely cheap. Right off the bat, as they say in cricket. And I've actually watched live cricket games. I watched one in Canada. It was like an amateur cricket league across the street from the Travelodge Hotel in Toronto. And I was watching it, you know. I didn't understand what they were doing. I was trying to figure it out. And then I watched a little bit of a cricket match. It was actual league match. Pretty sure on New Providence Island in the Bahamas, in the city of Nassau. I watched a cricket match. That's popular in Commonwealth countries, you know, the old British Empire, but not here. Okay, but right off the bat, I'm smelling sourdough bread and maybe even cornbread. Oh, well, you see now. It smells like Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill has a distinct aroma, which may or may not appeal to you. Even Evan Williams has that kind of, but this is very pronounced sourdough bread. Okay, here. Okay, now over here, I'm just getting that burn, that alcohol burn, that corn distillate burn. Like my friend David said, this smells like corn whiskey. I said, that's what it is. But it's 80% unaged corn whiskey. You see, that's the issue. He was drinking that from Heaven Hill, by the way. He was drinking that mellow corn. But you see, that's aged corn whiskey. It's not just unaged distillate. So this is making me think that's the Albertsons and that's the Heaven Hill. But let's go with the taste, because, you know, I did the last challenge, I couldn't tell them apart. And I didn't even try. I said, there's no use trying to say, oh, this is this and that's that, because that would be a total 50-50 guess, like flipping a coin. It would be meaningless, really, to say I got it, because I had no confidence. So here in Bermuda, oh, right, you're probably in Hamilton, maybe. In Bermuda, the alcohol is pretty expensive. I would imagine everything's expensive in that country because it's so isolated out there in the Atlantic Ocean. I'd like to go there. Okay, taste. I know in Bermuda they didn't even allow automobiles, right, until a few years ago, because it was so small they didn't want people driving around and tearing up the place. They said ride a bike. Ride a bike. It's not big. You don't need to drive. There's nowhere to go. It's not like you're going to drive to New York. You cannot drive in the ocean, so don't drive. Just ride a bike. And if you go to a wedding, wear Bermuda shorts. Or to a formal dinner. All right. Yeah, it's a little caramel, a little dried flowers and nectar, but it's mostly just that grain neutral spirits, sort of a neutral flavor. But it's starting to develop more character than when I first tried it, where it had no aroma and taste, essentially. But I said, yeah, it's going to start to develop. I think once air hit it, although it wasn't an airtight seal, you know, like a vacuum seal, but I just felt like once I kept opening that bottle, it was going to start to have more. No, it does not have a lot of character. Let's not make it out to be what it is not. But it has some. And for $4.99, it has about as much as you could expect it to have. I mean, don't drink it and think you're going to get Jack Daniel's Frank Sinatra edition, because you ain't getting that. You want that, go pay $95, you know. Yeah, this has that, it's almost like you can't describe it, but you know it. The sourdough, or the sour mash, it gives it like this little twang. It's kind of like the beer, you know, the malt liquor beers. I was telling my friend David, have that little twang to them, and you don't know where it's coming from, but you know it's there, and he doesn't like it. He said, I don't drink malt liquor. But he drinks ice beers like he was drinking that Natty Daddy. Like, well, that's another story. Okay, but it's not malt. You know, it's not the traditional malt liquor method. It's the ice method. Okay. Oh, my nose. Okay, hold on. I think I'm going to sneeze. Well, they're spicy enough, and any kind of spice makes my nose start to bother me. But they do have a little spice in them, I have to admit. Is there a big difference? Is it a big difference? Okay. Okay. Yes, I would say it's a pretty significant difference, honestly. I mean, yeah, they taste like whiskey, like the United States government says. That's the law, actually, that if you sell whiskey, it has to taste like what is commonly associated with whiskey, okay? Now, how they enforce that, I do not know. But if you're selling whiskey, it legally cannot taste like brandy. It can't taste like Scotch whiskey. You know what I mean? It can't taste like wine. Hold on a minute. Oh, sorry about that. My nose was clear. It's like it activated my sinuses. Golly gee. Okay. Whew. Okay. Awa chihuahua. All right. Yeah. Do you want to try whiskeys that make you sneeze? These could be ones to get. And I think I'm going to sneeze again. Okay. Crazy, man. Crazy. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Get down, girl. Girl, get down. Get down, girl. Girl, get down. But yeah, that's a law. Can't taste like anything but whiskey. And even have laws about mixed drinks. It's really a regulation, but the regulation is under the law, which allows for the regulation to be established. You understand? So it is a law in the sense that the law allows the regulation. So the regulation is based on the law. Okay, got it? There's even regulations about mixed drinks. If you make an old fashioned, it has to use these ingredients. Okay, has to be done this way with these ingredients. And if you don't make the old fashioned that way, you're breaking the law. Yeah. I'm going to eat. I'll be right back. Okay, but I'm going to be off the air very shortly, so you can always watch the replay, right? It's recorded, so that's doesn't really, you don't have to watch it live anyway. I think this is the Heaven Hill. Okay. I'm pretty confident, actually, so I think I'll get it. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm going to feel funny. Hi from Miami. What is your favorite bourbon cocktail, says Frederick Byram? Well, actually, I never really had any cocktails aside from mint julep, which Sonia makes, and she does a good job. This is a person I talked to. Was and then old fashioned. That's it. It's the only thing I've ever had. My mother used to always say, I want an old fashioned when she'd go to a restaurant. And then her father would drink old fashions. They always say, I want an old fashioned. But I have no favorite, really. It would be crazy to say I have a favorite since my mixed drink experience is practically zero. But I mean, the old fashions I tried tasted good. The mint julep was good, yeah. The mint julep was good, but I honestly would rather just drink bourbon straight. Okay. I mean, I would rather drink it without that. I'm not disparaging people from having highballs. I mean, drink one if you like it. Okay, so Heaven Hill, here we go. Boy, please let me be right. Y'all got to root me on now. I don't know. I think I need to stop doing these challenges. This is turning into like a fiasco, really. There's got to be a way I could do it where I can cover it up, like, you know what I mean? Like make it seem that I'm always correct some kind of way, or because it's too risky. What I'm saying is these challenges are too risky. I'm saying, oh, this is sour mash and blah, blah, and it tastes like this. And then I'm getting it wrong because this clearly says, I wrote it on the tag, Albertsons. Whoa. And this says, yep, there, Heaven Hill. I wrote it out. I have good handwriting. I don't know what to say. I got a lot of thinking to do now. Funny thing. And we kept saying, and John and Neely was saying, this Albertsons is amazing me. He said this, it's amazing me because it's supposed to be some just some knock around garbage, and on its own, you taste it and you say, there's nothing here, you see. But then you put it in the taste challenges and you start getting all mixed up. All right, I start getting all mixed up. I mean, yeah, I could just do, in other words, I could say, no, I'm not going to do blind taste tests anymore. I'll just look at it and say, this is this and this is that. But I don't know. I think the blind taste test matters because you just don't know. You don't know. So you're out there live and it's better to do it live. That way you can't delete it. I mean, you could delete it, but people have already watched it and it's too late. I mean, if you do a recording, fine. If it doesn't work out, you could just never post it. And I get the feeling some beer reviewers do that. You know what I mean? They only post what comes out favorable. And then if it doesn't come out favorable, you never see it. And so then you're saying, wow, this person's like a great expert. They never get it wrong. Well, yeah, of course, because you never see the fails. You only see the successes. And then you could buy the t-shirt. I got the t-shirts in the back. It's like, yeah, that's my goal, to sell merchandise. No, that ain't my goal. But I mean, I'm not going after people to do that. That's fine if you want to buy. I don't know why you would want to wear a t-shirt that had somebody's YouTube channel on it, but somebody asked me that, could I buy a t-shirt that says Louisiana Beer Reviews? I said, I don't have those. My daughter made me one, those companies where you can make a t-shirt and says Louisiana Beer Reviews. But I mean, I can understand me wearing it because I am myself, but I don't understand why somebody else would want to wear that. It seems very weird to me, very strange. I mean, I don't get it. So I don't get this. Oh man. So that you said, is there a big difference? And I said, yeah. So the answer is no, I'm wrong. There ain't a big difference. I couldn't even tell them apart. Okay. Not correctly. So, hey, there's your answer. Is there a big difference? Now, you could say, oh, but you just don't have a good handle on whiskey. You don't know the flavors very well. Now, that's a very strong possibility, see? So you got to consider that factor. You might have somebody else does start a video channel where they're doing blind taste tests and they could always nail it. Well, they would have more credibility, and I don't know about credibility. Let's forget that word, because I have credibility. I'm not cheating, Well, they might if they have a better taste faculty, if they're better at doing it, they would have more credibility. But the word I really meant to say is they would have more reliability. Okay. If they were able to taste it better, they would have more reliability. So my reliability may not be very good because I can't tell them apart. And I keep failing. But these blended whiskeys are so thin in the flavor presentation that it's very tricky. It's tricky. It's tricky because it's like if you only did, and you could do this, and I was wondering if anybody, I was thinking about this yesterday, if anybody would ever start a video channel where they would just do light beers. Because, some people, that's all they like. You know what I'm saying? They could make it like the light beer reviews. They could call their channel Light Beer Reviews, and it's all they could review. But those are very hard to tell apart. Now, I think if I did a bunch of light beer taste challenges, I'd get them screwed up a lot. I mean, you'd think, oh yeah, that Michelob Ultra is going to be way different than Natural Light, it ain't going to, or Miller Lite, it ain't going to be the same. I know I could tell it apart, but you think but do the challenge and find out. Could be the same with wine. People think they know wine. Oh yeah, I know wine. Boy, I could tell them, but then we'll do it. Then I see a lot of videos, but I don't see a lot of taste challenges. Practically none. And then when I do see taste challenges, they're almost never a blind challenge. I mean, there are some, like Marvin did some. See, they were blindfolded. You don't really need to be blindfolded. You just don't look, and you mix them up really well. If you have a partner helping you, that's even better, because they can tag them in another room and bring them into you, and you don't know which is which. So then right there, you don't know, you see. But you don't want them to interact with you, because they could influence you just by the glance. They could look at you, handing you a different glass, and give you a look that could tip you off, like a pitcher tipping his pitches. So you don't, it would almost be better for the person helping you and yourself to not know which is which. And that's a double blind experiment. A double blind is the best type to do, but it's difficult to pull off. It's more complicated, but it's more reliable, you see. So what's the cut and dry of this 30-minute thing? I couldn't tell them apart. That's the cut and dry of it. There's no difference. I mean, I thought there was, but apparently there isn't. So too bad for me. So obviously Albertsons wins again by default. Albertsons doesn't win by flavor, right? Like, we're doing these taste challenges. It's not like Albertsons is head and shoulders above the rest. That is not the case. On the other hand, I keep getting them confused. Well, there we go. So when you're looking at things like this, apparently you just shop price. Price, 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 price. You want to save, I don't care if it's a penny, save the penny and buy the one that's cheaper, because clearly there's not a big difference. And I've got this all these cabinets full. This is the worst part of it. I got all these cabinets full of blended whiskey. And I said, what am I going to do? Just keep doing taste challenges and getting them mixed up? Yeah, I will keep doing that. But if that keeps happening again and again, and I can't tell them apart, okay, fine. I won't buy any more blended whiskey. I won't buy any more. Because then the point will be made. Okay, we get it. We get it. They're the same type product from a bunch of different companies, and you can't tell them apart. Fine. We did it. Like, we did 100 taste challenges, and we never could differentiate them. Good. Okay, so there's your answer. Are they that different? No, they're not. Now, the Scotch, I'm interested, because I'm starting to get a big Scotch collection, and I want to see if the blended Scotches are distinguishable. They may not be. The Canadian whiskey, I got a bunch of those. Are those going to be distinguishable? I don't know. But then, you know, as a counter argument, I have done a bunch of straight bourbon taste challenges, right? You've seen that. Many bourbon, straight bourbon, not blended with other stuff, taste challenges. And look at how many times I could not tell them apart. So you might be able to make a strong argument right there that the price difference isn't really going to make a difference. It's just making you pay more, but the benefit might not be there, except in your mind, you're thinking, oh yeah, this is way better because I paid $23 more. But in a blind taste test, you couldn't tell them apart. So did you really benefit from buying this more expensive one? That's the whole question in these challenges. That's really the whole purpose of the taste challenge, the blind taste challenge. Is there any difference in price as far as flavor and quality exchange, or a trade-off? And in my experience so far with the blended whiskeys, there is no benefit in paying more money, because there's no trade-off. But here's the big one. I still have to do Seagram 7, and that's a good deal more expensive than this other stuff. But time will tell. All right, so later today at 3 o'clock Central, I'm going to try to do, I'm going to go back to Sazerac. I'm going to do Albertsons versus Barton. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to make any predictions. I think I'm making a big mistake making predictions. All right, thank you, and have a very wonderful Thursday and a fantastic and safe weekend.